you getting yourself ready for our show?
Welcome, everybody, to Jigs and Bigs, your weekly lead, weight, and walleye fillet-free fishing podcast. This episode here, the guys hit the Big E, the Eastern States Exposition. We got news. Sean does everything at the MAKB Championship except catch quality fish. And Bobby, local celebrity, we've got details on that. An extremely hot topic sat on the entire fishing world's face this weekend. You know exactly what we'll be talking about. Just the tip this week is for tourney directors, but we'll give competitors a little bit of insight for themselves. FTG is an unintended sequel to last week, and in our bait of the week, we've got Spro BBZ Rats. Tune in for this week to wash that disgusting taste of cheating that's been lingering around your mouth all weekend. We got a whole lot of good show coming up for you guys. Don't go too far. Much more coming up right after this. Oh my goodness, it's another Tuesday. Jigs and Bigs is happening. We're here. Everybody's enjoying themselves. We got jig heads filtering through. We got Gravy fishing in here. We're speaking earlier about how Gravy enjoyed some of the culinary skills of one and only Sean the Fisherman. So that's pretty good. Apparently, he gives you the seal of approval. He says that it was yummy.
It's good. He's been asking for some cooking for quite some time, and yeah, I was able to comply on Saturday morning. We had a good time in the morning.
Please, Mr. Fisherman, may I have some more?
We reenacted Oliver.
It was awesome. I never knew. Who knew? We got Nelson with us. This is What's Up, UNLs. Nelson, I think, still celebrating after the end of a pretty amazing season here in New England. So that's awesome, Nelson. Good stuff. Let's see what else we got here. Just had a good FTG, but the kid was like 12, Gravy said. You know, I found some situations like that. That's tough, to throw a kid that age under the bus in an FTG type situation, an FTG scenario, if you will. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's much better to aim it at adults because they don't have an excuse.
Exactly. Like when you're that young, you can sort of just say, well, hey, hopefully they're going to learn a little bit more. Maybe they'll pick something up and rectify the problem, rectify it. Yeah. That's all you can hope in that situation versus I think throwing them on FTG could deter them. But we got some good stuff. Lots of stuff has happened this week. It's been a busy week. Actually, I'm going into another busy week, but it's a different sort of busy. It's just, the bar and restaurant business. Oh, look at this. We got Rob Drummond with us. Rob, how you doing? What's cracking, buddy? First live stream for you. First time live streamer, long time listener. Good to have you. This week is nuts, though. Everything for me is in bars and restaurants this week, so there's no private events or anything happening coming up here, which is great. So next weekend, I can actually plan and do some, decent outings and stuff. I have been all over the place, man. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's open up Angler and take a look. I don't really think I had gotten out nearly as much as I wanted to this week. So if we go back here, I know last Sunday before we had recorded, I had an outing there. That was a good one. It was fun. And was that the last one? No, I made it out on the 28th. That was fruitless. Even the 27th, I had made a quick stop. Fruitless again. 2 bank ends, yeah, and then that one on the 25th. That was the last one in the kayak. I got to get my. God, I'll tell you, I'm really, really gun shy about taking out the Titan until I get the what do you call it, the landing gear straightened out, that situation. Like bringing it out by myself Like loading it on the trailer with another person, that's doable. You know what I mean? But like doing it solo, man, it's like I suppose I could go to one of my regular honey holes there. Barely a honey hole, but one of my regular haunts, and I could probably drop it in there. But I've been getting a lot of bank fishing out. Did go out today in the afternoon. Actually, when I had called you, or actually, no, you had called me. I was on my way to Richard's to load up on a few plastics that I was kind of running short on. And I stopped and picked some of those up, and then I was on my way. I made 2 stops today, 3 stops actually. One of them, nothing at all. Man, and the wind, it was middle of the day. The wind was just crazy. They said like potential gale force winds until 6 a.m. It kind of died down later in the day. At least where I was, it was actually kind of nice. So then I made a stop afterwards at one stop, and I had an interesting exchange with nice young guy. His name's Dylan, and he and a buddy of his had over at this one body of water. Man, it was just packed. It was freaking absolutely packed with people walking all over the place fishing from the bank. I think I probably saw like 4 different groups of people going around. And I saw these 2 guys go out one way, and I was fishing this one section, and they came back around and started to come back around behind me. I hear behind me somebody say, "Hey, excuse me, are you Bobby?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm Bobby, man. How you doing? And they're like, we were over at, I think they said they were at Granby Bait. And they had seen a sticker over there. Like, oh, this is pretty cool. What's this all about? So they looked us up on Instagram. And then they saw me fishing. They're like, that's got to be him. That's got to be him. So we're talking and everything. I told him, I was like, you're walking down this way. I said, I'll walk with you. I'll grab you some stickers from the truck and get you guys all set up. And I was like, if you're interested, get on the show. We had, of course, we're talking at the truck when I gave him the stickers. And Dylan, this kid can fish. He's showing me some pictures of some absolute tanks on his Instagram. So we're gonna organize getting them on and see what they have going on. And I think they also do some YouTube stuff as well, which is very, very cool. But good old friend Forge George came up in the conversation, and Dylan had himself a very good laugh because he knew exactly what I was referencing. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, I called my wife on my way to go meet up with my buddy Paul, and I said to her, I was like, so yeah, now you have to deal with that. She goes, yeah, but it's not like I'm out with you in like the fishing world doing stuff. I have to worry about people recognizing you. And I said, no, honey, you have to deal with the ego after I've been recognized in public. This is something that you might want to consider your position in life. So, yeah, that's something for her. So, yeah, I mean, today I think in total I got on 5 or 6. I caught a nice little pickerel, 14-inch pickerel. Haven't caught many pickerel this year for one reason or another. Who knows? Caught a couple of 13s. Did pretty good, man. I can't complain. Today was actually okay. No real, like, super quality, but I had a feeling getting bit today was going to be a little bit more of a challenge, and it was definitely the finessier baits seemed to get it done. But good stuff, man. We have a new addition here at the house. My wife had gone and made a new purchase. She replaced her vehicle. We had given that to my oldest daughter, Chloe. So now we have 3 cars and 3 drivers in the house, which is awesome. And I just got word that I don't have to bring my youngest daughter to the bus stop tomorrow. That is, I'm all about it. Sean, your mic is muted. You might want to unmute that sumbitch. But
that is a win, sir.
Dude, that is a huge win. I mean, I'm still going to get up, early and stuff, but it's nice. I don't have to leave the house. And I think I might have actually already figured out the trick to almost guarantee this kind of a play is to get the furthest spot up in the driveway so that I'm blocked in. Then I think it kind of will make the move where it kind of puts me in a good position where I'm like, well, you got to move your car anyway. Why don't you just take her?
Yeah,
it'll be good.
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was kind of a crazy week. Saturday night, I did an event for a local financial institution. They're celebrating a monumental a mile marker, 150 years in business. So it was a big deal. Got together. It's kind of funny. The place where they had their gala event was actually a place where I started my career in broadcasting. Kind of weird. It's like an old like town building, and there used to be a small production studio for a cable access network downstairs. They've since moved into like a much larger studio. But back in like, I guess it would have been 94, early 95, I had gone in there and kind of gotten my feet wet as far as like learning a little bit about broadcasting, about television, about videography, editing, all of these things that kind of come together. So very, very good. Let's see what we got here. We got Gravy chiming in here. He says, Bobby, it may be my speaker, but you sound scratchy. It could be. I don't know. I know our audio over here sounds wonderful, so I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. Everything sounds good on my end, and what comes out on the podcast is going to be nice and polished as normal.
Bobby, you've got me trained at this point of 2 years of doing this because I was waiting for the break to tell you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's a little scratchy and actually sounds like
I mean, it doesn't really do the listener any good to listen to that element of it, so I'll just edit all this shit out. But
yeah,
you know,
well, we were riffing
there. You go, listeners.
Yeah, this is why the patrons pay the big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Cool. So, Sean, tell me about your week, bud.
Hold on,
still sick.
No, it's just lingering. Like, like I said, when I had gotten sick a couple weeks ago, I made sure just to be safe to take a COVID test. You know what I mean? Everybody in my house has had it, but except for me. But I'm like, all right, well, let's check it out. And just this hacking hasn't stopped. And I'm not even hacking anything up anymore. It's just a dry cough. So that sucks.
The worst.
Yeah.
Like that's the worst when it's not productive.
No, I'm not hacking anything up.
Yeah,
it's all just
that sucks.
Regular mucus. Well, we had a big we had our biggest event of the year for MAKB. We had the championship over at Lake Quinsigamond. On my end, I mean, I'll get into the tournament results later, but on my end, I was unable to pre-fish, and that hurts me a lot sometimes, especially on big bodies of water and especially on lakes I've never been to before. So
I was just going to ask if this was a new one for you.
It was, yeah. I've never fished there before.
That's
I mean,
rough.
it's that big lake in Worcester when you go over 190 at 290. What was it, 190? I think it's 190, and you go over 190 and you see it right there. It's right underneath the bridge. And that's actually where I launched from and went back under 190. It was a tough bite. I'm going to breaking news right here. Breaking news. Maybe we should get the sound effect for breaking news, that ticker tape thing.
Hold on. I got you. Yeah, journalist dream. There we go. Go ahead.
All right. Breaking news. According to Sean the Fisherman, whose opinion means absolutely nothing, it is now fall in central and western Massachusetts.
It's true. It is. It's now fall.
It's now fall. Congratulations. Everyone feel free to fire a sweater on, suck down some pumpkin whatever, ingest it somehow, inject it. I don't give a shit. It's pumpkin time. And whatever your fall patterns are, go ahead and talk about them now. It was a little early in August. Thank you, management.
It was a lot early in August. I'll tell you, like, people need to chill with the fall shit. I get it. I believe me, I 100% get it. And also, it's funny, while you bring up a real good point, you and I have often talked about how just because the calendar says one thing environmentally, and especially on a local or even a regional level, like there's a lot more wiggle room. There's other signs that you need to be looking for. And I know you don't watch a lot of the YouTube fishing content that's out there, but I have noticed I think like the last year or so, I have seen so many different videos where people say, great baits to throw in this month, these 28 days. Have you seen any of these?
No, I haven't. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
I'm not on YouTube all
I know
that
you're
much.
not, yeah, but I mean, I feel like you can't miss them. I've seen them from Tactical Basque, and I've seen them from like reputable, like knowledgeable folks, you know. But like, in some of these cases, I'm kind of like, you would be the old like adage of like what you're looking for in the fall are these key signs. Water temps being about this much. You're looking for when you can actually notice that you've got lower temperatures at night over not just like a random cold night, but like over an extended period of time. You know, when you see the patterns actually start to change. The sun is a huge one, you know. Your days actually start getting shorter. That's huge, and that's, you know, that should align with your water temps, and you're going to see things, you know, start changing there. But yeah, you're 100% right, man. It's fault. When you told me today that what the water temps were where you were, I think I guessed like 10 or 11 degrees higher.
Yeah, and that was for the main lake.
Yeah.
But I went to that one area where it was much, much colder, and I wasted time going back there because it was under a smaller bridge, and I needed to I needed to collapse, you know, take all the rods down, get back there, and then I went I saw the temperature dropping as I was going north, which again, this is another one of those unusual lakes.
Yeah,
which
an anomaly.
A stream or a feeder, you know, spring or something in there.
Yep.
But man, that water was almost 10 degrees colder.
That's
and I
crazy.
said, oh shit. And I went back. So that was just a waste of time. But it was a tough bite. We got there. Oh man, I showed up about 5:00. Ken Wood was there and Bill Galekis were already there. The plan was there were 2 launches at Quinsigamon, a north and a south.
Yep.
Out of 38 people that fished, 30 went to the south. So right off there, that's some ominous foreboding. Like, you know, but it's all right. We'll get into some of the reasons that I chose the north in just a tip, believe it or not. A lot of stuff comes into that decision that is outside of just straight up trying to catch fish.
Yeah.
But either way, in the southern launch, Nelson was planning on cooking breakfast for everybody. And in the northern launch, I cooked breakfast for everybody. Now, last year at Lake Webster for the championship, I cooked, but there was only a few people around. And I had some extra stuff, and I just said, hey, you want something like real quick? Now it was planned. So I made sure I had plenty of food on hand. I sliced up some maple chicken sausages, cooked them the night before I left, reheated them in the microwave, and then threw them into a different cooler so they were warm still. And didn't really have to do much with them. I just reheated them quick, because you know how it is, man. Sausage, meat products take a while to heat up.
Oh yeah.
So they were slightly warm.
Yep.
They were slightly warm, and I went ahead and, you know, reheated them on the freaking stove.
Yep.
Got everything ready. I made egg and cheese and sausage wraps.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Not bad.
So we cooked those up. We had the nice wraps. Ken Wood brought coffee and donuts, and I believe Bruce Levy did on the south side. So it was a nice director tag team effort of making sure there was food for everybody. We were all good to go. And then right as I was cleaning up, I was letting my grill cool down, because obviously I put my grill back in my truck. Steve Hedges was parked a couple spots over from me, and I hear, hey, does anybody know how to work with electrical stuff? And I'm like, depends. What do you need? One of his contacts had broken off for his battery for his fish finder.
Oh, shit.
So I said, okay, let me add it. And all I had on me was multi-tool. I didn't bring any of my, you know, smaller diagonal cutters or needle nose pliers or anything. I certainly didn't have any extra connectors.
Yep.
And I went to town with it. Luckily, who did have some of those things was Dan Regan. So Dan's an air crew member anyways in his job, and he just happened to have a bunch of tools lying around. So we went to town on this. What ended up happening was the connector and the wire were thankfully soldered. So whatever company provided that wiring, it was a good connection. It wasn't just a crimp connection.
Yeah.
So it was soldered. The problem was it broke right at the connector. The wiring broke. There was a little bit of exposed wire. It broke right there.
Oh.
So I had to try, and it took me a while, and I'm lucky I didn't cut myself, but I took a knife blade and lifted the two parts, I mean, you know, of the connector. They were like flattened, crimped, but they weren't like crimped, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I was able to grab that wire and start spinning it. So I broke the solder, pulled out that 1/2 inch or less of wire.
Yep.
But now the connector was a little opened up. Cut back the wire and popped it back in. And then looking Steve directly in the eye, I completely electrical taped the shit out of it and said, "You need to fix this before the next time you go on the water."
He won't.
Because I believe he's fishing a KBF event, the championship coming up. And I said, "This needs to be fixed. This is a temp fix." So, Steve got on the water.
What's the over-under that you think he's going to do it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That
kind of shit's serious, you know?
Yeah. Instead of me prepping my stuff, that's what I was doing, cooking for everybody and fixing electrical problems. So that's just part of the responsibility, I guess, if you're a director and if you're a human being for trying to help somebody out. You know what I mean? So we did that. And Steve, I don't know where Steve finished, top 25, I think. But either way, he got on the water. I don't think he had any problems. So he's just got to fix it when he gets home. That's that. As far as my day went, I was flying by the seat of my pants. I had 3 spots I wanted to hit. There was a submerged point, a series of docks, and then that north pond. The north, I don't know what it was, segment of the north pond. It was under the bridge. All that went out the window when I looked on my Garmin and I saw directly across from the launch there was a stream pouring in. And I said, well, I'm going to go to that. Now, I did mark a bunch of fish there, and I caught nothing. So right off the bat, I'm, half hour, 45 minutes in, and I said, well, I'm going to go across and start on these other docks that weren't on my docket. So I made a plan and then completely threw it out the window. When I got around the corner after the docks, there was a weed bed that I had no intention of hitting, and I caught my biggest fish of the day, which was a 16. Yay, congrats to me. Then I kept going up that shoreline and got nothing. A couple hits here and there. It was just such a slow bite. I should make mention, all the fish I caught were on a stick worm, whether it was weightless with 2 of them or the other 3 were a Ned rig. I cut the thing. It was a 5-incher. I cut it when I got bent up or when it got ripped up, put it right on a Ned rig, and that was that. So now it's whatever. I had a 16-incher after an hour, and then I think an hour later, I had gone north, got into that pond, and said, uh-oh, I'm fucked. So now I'm like 2-3 hours into the tournament. I turn around and start with my original plan. And on this submerged point, I pulled up my second fish, which was 13, I believe, 13 something, whatever, 13 and change.
Yep.
Kept going around those docks, got nothing. Then I went back to the weed bed where I caught the 16. And the weed bed was pretty long, maybe 100 yards, kind of had a curve to it. And in the last hour of competition, so I just caught those 2 fish, the 16 and the 13 in the first 3 hours. For the next 5 hours or 4 hours, I caught nothing. And then the last hour of the tournament, I got the magnificent 3, as I will forever remember them. A 10-incher, a 10 1/4, and a 10 1/2. I filled a bag, and that was it. I was actually kind of mentally checked up by about 11 o'clock. I'm like, this is not good. Nobody really ran away with it. Like 80 plus, nobody even broke 80 inches. So everybody was in it. It just, there weren't the size fish out there. There weren't those numbers of sized fish
that you need.
Support it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There were some big ones that just got spread around.
Yeah.
I mean, an 18-inch smallmouth came in, I believe a couple 18-inch plus largemouth, but they were spread out. Now, I like tournaments like this because everybody who filled a bag was in it.
Yep.
Right. So I finished with 60 inches. All right.
Oh.
And if I had just caught, 3 15s, 4 15s, that would have added 5, 10. All of a sudden I'm in it. I'm in 70 inches. 78 won it, I believe. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Whatever. Yeah. So I like these. I mean, they're a little stressful, but I do like tournaments where it's not all big fish and you don't have to catch giants the whole time. I prefer to keep it level. And I think more people stay in those tournaments.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, that was the tournament. I mean, we'll talk about it more with the actual results in the tourney section, but we had a blast. We went to the event afterwards, talked about this year, did all the giveaways, talked about the event, obviously, and we've got a lot of things on the docket for next year for MAKB. Once again, a year is done. We have one more event that's on the schedule. There could always be an unscheduled one if the weather stays warm.
Yep.
But we have the Catch 'em All Brawl at the end of October, and we're ready to rock. I mean, this was another good year. Personally, I didn't do well as an angler. I think I actually probably took a step back from the year I had in 2021. But as a director, I think I did more good things.
You upped the level.
My experience level and the way I executed certain things were, I think, a lot better. And I mean, I think the numbers of people coming, not only going to the events, but coming back to them, kind of illustrated that, good. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah. They say
so. Yeah,
the proof is in the pudding. So I mean, you're on something good.
Yep. Yeah, we did I mean, obviously, I'm saying this. I couldn't have done any of this without Nelson. He's like the backbone of this operation. Anytime I say, "Hey, what do you think?" or "Hey, we need to get something done," he's on top of that shit.
Yep.
So
cool.
It's great. It's great to have a really good assistant director, and I'm looking forward to next year, just starting all over again, and we'll see what happens.
Yep, exactly. Now there was something else that happened this week.
Yep,
and
there was.
It was a real test, I guess, of our gastrointestinal fortitude.
Fat guys doing fat guy things.
Yeah,
I think it's the title.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
We did finally make it to the Big E. After a couple of stumbling blocks, we were thinking we were going to do it earlier in the week. Did not happen the way we thought, but we ended up making it on Thursday. We pretty much went there and we ate our way through the Big E, which I'm okay with. You know what I mean?
We seriously ate our way through it. That's an excellent way to describe what we did. Where do we start? You know what? I think we actually even reflected on this as we were moaning because of eating so much food on the way home. And we started at the top of the mountain and rolled downhill, didn't we?
We really did. Like, there were some fun little ventures, but we set the bar kind of high going in. We definitely did. And this is all thanks to you having a little recon mission beforehand to kind of like map and guide out a few ideas that are definite must-hit spots. So to start, we walked in the gate and we walked immediately to a place called Tots-a-Lots.
Lots of tots.
Is it? I thought I was saying it backwards when I said lots of tots.
You took a picture of it.
I did. I'm going to take the picture. I'm going to take a look at the sign, and I'll find out for sure. Because last thing I want to do is get.
We don't want to besmirch the tot people.
No, I don't want to besmirch the tot people at all. Where is it?
Well, I'll start describing while you're looking.
It is Tots-a-Lot.
Oh, it was Tots-a-Lot. Okay, good. Oh, my bad. I think I have in my notes as lots of tots, so I got to change that. We went there and we ordered. We actually asked them to split it for us so we could have. They gave us more tots, which was great. They might even have given us a double order. I have no idea, but we brought out the camera. Now, I have not been on Instagram the past day or so very much. Were you able to post a video yet?
I didn't post it yet. I was playing around with a couple of different things, and I'm like, all right, I want to make this look nice.
Okay, good. All right, so there you go, people. You got a teaser right there. We actually made a video of two fat middle-aged men eating fair food and making comments.
And the artwork for this episode comes from that outing.
Yes,
from the Verst House.
Oh yeah. Well, we did. We'll get into that in a second too, because that was what?
Bobby's Sausage Shack. That was stop number 2.
Yeah. Now that was that picture that we got of the at that German place. That was also another highlight for you.
Oh, that was fucking great.
I was watching you eat that and I couldn't do it, and I couldn't eat it, and I'm just sitting there jealously watching you engulf it. But Tots-a-Lots. Lots of tots, big lots, wherever the hell we were, right?
Big tots.
Big tots. Pair of big tots. We ate lobster and butter tater tots. Do we have the words to describe this? I don't think I do, because it was melt in your mouth.
Yeah, it was out of this friggin' world.
It was so good. It was so good.
And just you don't understand. Like, there's folks that love lobster, and they're like, "Oh, okay, that's great. That's cute." No, this took it to like the next level. Like, it's like putting lobster, right, and clarified butter, right, and the flavor combination that is on there on one of the best vessels you could put on there, the tater tot.
Yeah, it was
extra
good.
crispy. Oh God.
They were so crispy, and then, like you said, this is melting in my mouth, and I was
Yeah.
like, that is the best definition for what's going on right now. And then it was claw meat. It was almost all claw meat.
So good.
So thanks to them. And it turns out the one of the folks working there I went to high school with, so that was nice. Good conversation starter there. So that was pretty funny. Where did we go next?
Next up, we went to I went to the Wurst House. There was a menu item that caught my attention, and it was a Bavarian poutine, which was fries with sliced bratwurst, these like pickled red peppers, and their house-made beer cheese, smothering everything, and it was absolutely out of this freaking world. It was dynamite. And this was where you made the pulled pork stop, right?
Yes. There was a barbecue. I believe it was Porky's Barbecue, and they had pulled pork, and their barbecue sauce is fantastic. It was a sweet barbecue I put on there with my pulled pork. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
So good. And what was nice was that the Wurst House had a small tent that had probably like 6 or 8, picnic tables underneath the tent set up there. There was a little stage where they had, music like later in the day and all kinds of stuff. Plus they had a full bar back there as well. So we just kind of, because I had ordered from there, we just kind of snuck in there and ate our food underneath their tent. And we saw one of those like, the cutouts that you see at like any type of event or ongoing or something where you have like, some type of a display with the faces cut out and people go and stick. Well, that's what you're looking at for the artwork right there. That's Sean and I and our handiwork.
And just so you know, there was no choosing of who was going in what hole. It simply was by height, which I understand sometimes is how adult movies choose that too.
It's true. Oh my God. So we followed that. Now did we go to the main building after that? I think we did.
Let me think. We went from that area where I ate the pulled pork and you ate the Bavarian poutine. We went from there to the main building. Now the main building has one of my favorite things in it. It's one of the no matter what, like if I'm going to the Big E, it's what I'm getting. All right, and this sounds so funny with a fair. It's the healthiest thing in the world.
It is.
There's a company from Maine that makes their own root beer and has smoked salmon on a stick. It is so good. It's my favorite salmon. I eat salmon in a lot of restaurants, and I really enjoy salmon, but eating it at the Big E on a stick is a whole new level. And I believe you had some too, right? Yes, you did.
Yep. Oh yeah. And it was absolutely out of this world.
Yeah, it was good.
So good.
From there, I think we got stupid at that point and went to a local creamery that has a booth at the Big E or a trailer, and we went to Moolicious. Moolicious Creamery is down in Feeding Hills in Agawam, basically, in Mass, and they had we got milkshakes, right? You got a coffee, I got a vanilla.
Yeah, we went with some shakes after that because what other way to wash down all that fair food than with some ice cream and additional dairy?
We did it.
It was great.
We did it. And that was the end of my day. I actually went home and I had a little bit of time before I had to go pick the kids up. So I did, in fact, pass out in a chair for about 45 minutes, just straight up carb coma. We ate well.
We did. We ate very well. Yeah. It was a good day. That was definitely a very, very fun day. I was curious if we were going to be able to make it happen simply because the amazing, schedule for this whole week has just been insanity. I think I had a meeting on Tuesday. We were supposed to go, and I think I had a meeting that popped up on Tuesday, like last minute, where I was waiting for them to get back to me. And I assumed that the meeting was going to be on Thursday or something. What's interesting, actually, and this kind of goes into the whole week kind of coverage, is that the day of that meeting, it was in Munson, and there was a spot that I had fished last fall. It was like right after I got the truck. right after I got the Forerunner. I had fished this one spot, and it's basically just like there's this small brook or a stream that kind of dumps into this one area. There's a small dam there, and there's a small area that you easily could hold fish. Well, I'm guessing this is because of the drought, but man, that thing was like bone dry, dude. I could have walked across it. There was just a small trickle from the initial creek, just going right around through the what do you call it? Spillway.
Oh.
Yeah, just dumping right out through the other side. I was like, really? No shit. I don't know. It was just, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, kind of crazy. And I also found a bridge that day that I had fished at, just, throwing a Ned rig over off to the side. I got a nice hit from it. I could see it. It was like so clear. Little smallmouth. And I was kind of let down. I wasn't able to hook that sumbitch. But yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, Thursday was great. I loved it. I also took a nap on Thursday. I went like an hour and a half early to my daughter's bus stop, which is luckily in a shopping plaza, so it's not like I was parked like on the side of the road in front of somebody's house or something. And I just freaking nodded off, put on a podcast, out of this world.
I did the same.
Yeah,
I passed out and I went to pick the kids up, and that was it. And then, like I said, Saturday was Saturday. I think that wraps our week, man. I mean, really, we saved the best for last. That Big E was phenomenal.
Was awesome.
Now,
that was so good.
Even though, and I will say this, it was kind of funny where you were setting up the camera with the tripod, and we were basically moaning in ecstasy over the food, and people were just staring at us because, of course, we're wearing Jigs and Bigs gear. We didn't plan that either. That was pretty funny. We wore the same dress to the prom. And we just we hooked it up, man, and it was kind of nice. And I said something to you. I'm like, yeah, it is kind of funny. We put this thing on. We're wearing the same stuff and just start moaning about food. People all of a sudden are very interested in what we're doing. Yeah. So that was kind of fun.
Onlookers, like every which way. There's a clip somewhere where like somebody's walking by and she said, well, Jordan said such and such. And in the video, I reference it. It's like, oh, yeah, he was. He's a real piece of shit. Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so the Big E was a good time. I did more Big E this year than I have in years. I mean, I ended up going again that night too.
Oh, you did make it that night.
My kids wanted to go, so I went back, and I only got you know what I did just for shits and grins. I tried I went back to Lots of Tots or Tots of Lots or whatever the fuck. I already forgot the name. I went back there, and I got what did I get? It was I got the loaded tots. Bacon, cheese, sour cream and chives. Good. It just they hit the home run. They got their crispness down in their tots, and it doesn't matter what they put on them.
It's true.
It was great.
They're just awesome. We did do a little bit of networking while we were there with them because we would love to work with Tots a lot for upcoming Jigs and Bigs events and things like that. I think that would be out of this world. I don't think. Maybe aside from Wild Bill, and his carb counting and stuff, I think anybody that's in our little network of friends would thoroughly enjoy that, especially the lobster tots.
And then Bill may have cheat days.
He could. He could. Yeah, it could happen. You know what I mean? Let's talk, though. There has been, and the way you had written this out in the intro was exactly the right way to word it. That there has been something very heavy sitting on the face of the entire world of fishing over the last couple of days. So much, in fact, that I have had an ungodly amount of people who are not folks that are into fishing at all sending me all kinds of stuff online, different videos from all different sources, like links to everything, articles, you name it. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go over like some of the details here. But basically, this is all about, like the New York Times says, fishing contests rocked by cheating charges after weights are found in winning catches. Two competitors stuffed walleye with lead sinkers in a scheme that was caught after the tournament director and attendees grew suspicious. Jason Fisher became suspicious. He is the tournament director when the 5 fish that he estimated to be about 4 pounds apiece or 20 pounds total weighed in at nearly 34 pounds. Attendees at the fishing tournament in Cleveland on Friday also had doubts, one of them saying, no way. Mr. Fisher was the director of the tournament, known as the Lake Erie Walleye Trail. He inspected one of the walleye, and he felt that there was a hard object in its stomach that seemed unnatural. It's not like they're eating rocks, he said. He grabbed a knife, sliced open the fish as Jacob Runyon, one member of the two-person team that presented it for weighing, looked on. The next moments rocked the competitive fishing world. "We've got weights and fish," Mr. Fisher shouted, holding up an egg-sized lead ball that he plucked from the fish in a dramatic moment captured on video and posted online. This is where you see everybody where he takes the fish out, or he takes the sinker out of the fish and then drops it into the basket. You hear this thing hit with like some force. Aged umpire ejecting an unruly player. He says, "Get out of here," he shouted, interjecting the demand with an expletive. Yeah, he did. Members of the crowd accused the men of theft and demanded that police be called. Mr. Runyon and his teammate Chase Kaminsky would have finished in first place and scored a prize of about $30,000, but they were disqualified after the lead ball, and subsequently several others were discovered in the fish, said Mr. Fisher. I had heard that this pot for this tournament was much, much higher than that 30,000 mark. But $30,000 is a shitload of money. That's a good amount of money for one tournament. Yep. And it's a lot more. I had heard there were like dollar amounts thrown around that were like $500,000. And I'm like, what? I'm like, that's how much did it cost to get into this thing? How many people do they have entering? You know? And these are all things that kind of ran through my mind. And that 30,000 makes a whole lot more sense. You know,
I had heard 45, but I that was just word of mouth. You know, this was obviously one of our big discussions at the ramp after the tournament. I mean, when I was on the water, my phone was blowing up, and I'm not looking at these links going, "What the hell's going on?" And I was getting links from everyone. Again, people that don't fish sending me this.
Yep.
And yeah, it was crazy, man. It was weird how this really crossed over into real life.
It definitely did. And I think that a lot of people think of like competitive fishing, your average layman, if I can use that term, your average person that's not invested in tournament fishing, in competitive fishing at all, probably thinks that these events happen so rare. And I'm not talking about the cheating. I'm just talking about the tournaments. They probably are completely unaware and oblivious to the money involved, to, the specifics and everything else. And I believe it was, I think Greg Noser, actually, from the KFL, had put up a post that I spotted on Facebook today, and he said, this could be avoided if some of these old tactics for tournaments, like bringing in your best five for a weigh-in, if they changed the way they did it, and either adopted CPR or even like the old MLF style where you weigh them, you measure them with an official on a boat and then immediately release. Something like that, because then you don't have the time to tamper with them. You catch them, you measure them, they're done. I can't understand in this day and age why the appeal is still here for that, big five.
I'll tell you exactly why. Because the folks that run these tournaments that are catch and keep, I know they eventually get released, but you catch a fish in the first 10 minutes of an 8-hour tournament and throw in your live well, that thing's going to be stressed and beat up no matter what chemicals you're putting in there, no matter what, right? Yeah. They want to see the fish presented at the weigh-in. Everyone wants to be like BASS.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
saying them because they're the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to have the champion holding up two massive slobs, one in each hand, and some fish too.
Couple of slobs from the big, fresh, packed full of lobster and tater tots.
Hold up two slobs. We should have a booth next year. Hold up two slobs. But the bottom line is they want that. I don't know if it's for the sponsors. I don't know, because it's filtered down to even the smallest tournaments that are big boat tournaments, and you have to hold up these fish. There's no reason for it anymore. And on top of that, remember that article we discussed where I found that there was research done. It was supposed to be a 12-year project, and they stopped it after 4 because they saw what kind of damage the gene pool was getting hit with, because people are catching big fish around spawn time, and instead of putting them back in the water where they might go back to their nest, they're bringing them to a launch
miles away
8 hours later.
Yeah. And
then it turns out those fish just don't breed for the year. So when you hear big boat anglers talk about, don't take fish because don't ever take fish, put them back. you're risking the fish's health by keeping it in your live well for any amount of time, number one. Number two, if you're taking it during the spawn, you're doing more damage to the gene pool than keeping X amount of, edible fish. It's an arcane, archaic, not arcane, archaic. They're not into black magic. Although it might as well be. It's an archaic fucking thing from the past that needs to go. Now, there's a couple other things that we've evolved a little bit. At least it's just to that now. I mean, there's still tournaments out there that nail fish to boards.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah. Where I've seen that before where that's like, oh yeah, this is the lunker. Well, was the lunker because it ceases to live now. I think that we can probably make the assumption that I'll tell you, if there's one thing about CPR that I am all about, yes, there are just this year there were people that had kind of pulled the wool off of the from the eyes, kind of exposing some of the methods that were used to cheat. But I'll tell you what, man, it's a whole lot harder to cheat with CPR. It really, really is. Like, I'm not saying that it's a challenge, but I think anytime you have some sort of competition, and I see this all the time when I'm in bars and restaurants hosting my stupid little game show, like I've told people, they're like, oh yeah, we could do a big prize. We did like $100, gift card, or we do a gift card for this place or something like that. I'm like, that's a great idea. But with that, you're going to bring in people that are just overly competitive. And some people that want to, push the envelope. Luckily, with what I do, it's very obvious when somebody's trying to cheat. But, in the sense of something like this, what was it? I think it was that article, if I had gone through a little bit further, like they actually list some of the methods that people have been caught with. I had heard also that this pair from this tournament had many other instances of being accused of cheating in the past, and had even failed a polygraph test. And then they have some kind of a hotshot lawyer that, got it kicked out, or had somehow pulled the steam out of that. So, I mean, I don't know, man.
Look, it still does happen, but I think it's a lot rarer. Dude, they should be all going CPR at this point.
Yeah. And then we got to talk about, we got to talk about what about these two guys? Like, what can we do about them? Like, I know you and I had talked before we started the show that, there's lawsuits, you can go after them, but then you have to prove that they cheated then, and you don't have those fish to figure out. You don't have all you have is basically the testimony of the judges or the tournament director or those involved, other competitors, all that stuff. So it gets really, really tough. Personally, I kind of think, like, why has nobody, like, considered the idea of just, like, public shaming? I mean, obviously this is going to do something, but like start a list of like, these are competitors where they've been busted and we're not going to let them compete. They try to enter, we're going to refund their tournament fees for whatever. You're not welcome. Done deal. I think if nothing else, for that one trail, that walleye trail, that should be the case.
Yeah, I mean, there are. I know of local competitors that have cheated, and they're still blacklisted. They're not going to get back in because that was the rule. Like, if you cheat, you're never fishing with anybody again. And I'm not going to get into the details on the one particular I know, but I mean, all these organizations that are linked together that have different relationships. Yeah, the directors may talk and like, hey, if this guy's in your tournament, like, just so you know, he got booted from us and we're an affiliate. Like, you can't let this guy fish. And, it happens. It does. Like, but the bottom line is don't cheat. I mean, you want to take a chance at winning a few bucks here, maybe a year or two, like these two assholes, and good. Now you're done. You're not fishing in any competition anymore because the public shaming happened, and it happened on the internet, which is forever. So.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I think that the what we're seeing is that it's obviously happening where it's getting the attention of, even those that aren't invested in competitive fishing or fishing for, for sport, where they're they're aware of what's going on, and now, it fucking looks awful, for them.
Yeah.
It really, really does. It's a bad look, boys. It's a bad look. Someone had also, in one conversation I was having today, had said that the boat that they had competed in for this tournament, they had won from a previous tournament.
Yeah, that figures.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? Pieces of shit.
Yeah, well, they're done now, but it was amazing, and you and I both were amazed at the phones blowing up for a day over this, because hey, we're thankful to all of our friends, acquaintances, etc. that reached out. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. Just don't cheat. And honestly, big boat folks, there's no reason you guys should be keeping these fish anymore, especially at the lower levels.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to be the first to. I don't know who's going to be the first to take a step and, say, hey, we can do this with an app, and there's less risk of cheating.
Yeah.
But, there's got to be a discussion somewhere. I'm not doing a big boat. I don't own a big boat, so it ain't going to be me.
And I know, you make a good point about having that moment where you have everybody gather and you have the results and everybody's holding up the fish and all this other stuff, and that's great. But there are ways where you could do some kind of a reveal of, the results. Once everything's been judged and everything, you do some awards, you keep people in the dark as much as you can, and then you have everybody gather and you do some awards or something like that. I mean, there's things that you could do if you just use a little creativity. You could get beyond something like this where somebody's going to try to, pull a fast one, because I'm telling you, you give anybody the option, they're going to try.
Yep.
There's people out there that are just like, we can probably get away with this. So, cheaters suck.
It can be done. It can be done. The kayak world shows that. There's no reason.
Every week it shows it.
Yep. There's no reason it can't be done. So, yep, that's that.
Well, I think let's go ahead. We're going to put a bow on this segment here, guys. We're going to wrap this one up, come back around. We got Just the Tip for you. We're talking more tournament stuff in our next segment, both in Just the Tip, the tourney updates, and then our bait of the week this week. We're going with something loud and something big. That's what we're doing. We're talking rats, specifically the Spro BBZ rat. Why do I love it? You'll find out. We're going to take a short break, guys. We will be back with more right after this. Jigs and Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form content. We want to thank Old Glory Outdoors in East Brookfield, Massachusetts. Old Glory has an amazing selection of fishing tackle, including Sixth Sense, Guggen Baits, X-Zone Lures, Shimano, Daiwa, Luz, 13 Fishing, Arc Rods, and many more. Use promo code Jigs and Bigs at oldgloryoutdoors.com and in-store to save yourself some money and support the show. For all your premium kayak needs, we partner with Three Bells Outfitters, located along Smith Cove in Niantic, Connecticut. Three Bells is your go-to location for kayaks and accessories from Hobie, Native, Bonafide, Jackson, Yakutak, Naqua, Boondocks, Burley Pro, and many more. Financing options are available to upgrade you and your kayak fishing experience. White glove delivery service is also available. Visit threebellsoutfitters.com for more info, and don't forget to tell them that Jigs and Bigs sent you. When it comes to high-quality polarized sunglasses, we've partnered with Torres. They provide stylish sunglasses in a variety of frames that are light and fit comfortably on your face. The polarization cuts glare and allows you to see the whole picture, helping you identify what's below the water's surface. They have a 60-day risk-free trial, lifetime warranty, and free shipping. Plus, you can save yourself 10% with the code JIGSandBIGS10 at checkout. Visit Torres.com to check out their selection. That's www.torege.com. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks.
Bobby and Sean now have a special presentation for us all. They'd like to give everyone just the tip.
Bobby Roast Beef. You made a comment to someone about maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and you told me about that comment. I was very flattered. I was very flattered. You said to someone when you were discussing me and my love of fishing tournaments, you said, if tournaments weren't invented, Sean would invent them just to run them. I said, guilty as charged. Yes, I do love running tournaments. So part of that running tournaments is not just getting people to the event. It's getting them to come back.
Yes.
And
agreed.
if you can get people to come back, that's a successful. That's gone from a tournament to a tournament trail.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think, I mean, there's a number of tips to any aspiring tournament director. Obviously, you have to be on top of your stuff with whatever app you're using. If you're using an app, hopefully you're not in a big boat tournament and killing fish. Oh, I'm sorry, you're cheating. I mean, I'm sorry. You know, hopefully you're not in a big boat tournament. But there's a lot of things that go into that. Some of the things, obviously, you have to put, and I think the most important thing is, if you're fishing your tournaments, if you're allowed to fish your tournaments, some places don't allow directors to fish. Most kayak tournaments do. If you're directing, that comes first.
Yeah.
So that means if you've got some sort of directorial responsibility, whether you're on the water, whether you're getting ready like this weekend, and after the tournament, like you have to focus on that. Fishing is secondary. All right. During this year, I think look, right off the bat, when Russ went in the water in April, all right, I'm the director. Do you think I just sat there and said, is he okay? Is he all right? When I heard that, I stopped what I was doing and immediately went to make sure he was okay.
Yeah. Thankfully,
others had addressed the situation by the time I got there, but it didn't mean that I was going to sit there and say, well, I'm fishing. Is he okay?
Yeah.
I didn't. I got over there.
The bite's good.
Yeah. Now that's a great example of putting the tournament trail before you. And there's always things you do. Always make sure you're getting input from your members. They're the backbone of this. You're just the head. And if they don't like the direction you're going in, you better find out why really quickly. So continue to talk to your members. I try to stay as transparent as possible with all the members for MAKB, with what I can. Again, Ken's the head of this. I don't freelance without his say so.
Yeah, but you know your role, and you know when it comes to the Western stuff that, you know, like you have a way that you run things, you know?
Yeah, definitely our captain's briefing before the event. I'm sure there's different phrases that are used, but I have the okay to say those phrases, you know? And as far as like MAKB, as far as Chronic Trips and Jigs and Bigs, even though I really don't have to, you and Seth have appointed me to be the director for these things. I still run stuff by you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's the right thing to do. So it's always transparency. And I always say no one likes surprises.
Yeah. Least
of all people who have to answer for shit. So I mean, maintain transparency. Think of your members. Always try to get your members' input. I always say, if there's anything I can do better, please ask. And usually, if something comes up, I'll get a question like, "Hey, why aren't we fishing this particular lake?"
Yeah.
Or body of water. I have an answer for that.
Yeah.
Most of my answers for MAKB for the West have been, well, there's a parking issue, or it's a Corps of Engineers. I'm working on that. Or in one particular case, I'm holding on to this one for a specific reason, and more to come on that. But
yeah, exactly.
It's not just getting out and fishing. There's a lot that goes into it. Now, what we try to do with MAKB is we try to add a little extra experience to it. So like when we can, cooking, you know, having some drinks afterwards, or, you know, I say drinks, I don't mean alcoholic, although there are beers around.
Yep.
But like making sure that everyone has a soda or extra bags of chips or something like that, so that when we're doing our little giveaways and stuff, it's just a little thing that can help out. And most of the time, us directors pay for that shit out of our pockets.
Yeah,
and we're okay with it. I'm happy with it. I did not think this was going to happen 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think that last year I would be a little stressed out about, well, we're getting a small amount of people to our tournaments, but they seem to be forming a core. Like, what's going to happen in 22? And then 22, the doors blew off. I mean, we averaged 20 to 25 people every tournament with a couple of sellouts.
That's awesome.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I think
there are tournament trails that are out there that cannot say the same.
Not even close.
When you see that growth, and you've got the situation where slots are filling up, and the demand is there, that's a great problem to have.
Yeah,
it is.
It really is. It means we're doing something right.
Yep.
And people don't have to like us, but they have to come back. They should be liking the way that things are being run.
Yeah.
And if it's being run fairly, because we've seen that plenty of tournament trails where there's even a stink of some sort of, I don't know, competition imbalance, shall we say?
Yep.
That starts with the directors, and if they're not addressing it, that's on them, and that's going to reflect. People aren't going to come back. So, I mean, look, we can't please everybody. There's always going to be one or two people that are going to have an issue and don't like the answer the way it's resolved.
Exactly.
So you've got to try and just keep things fair. Make sure you're putting the trail before your fishing aspirations. And I mean, that's really the biggest thing. And try to provide whatever extras you can. I mean, we buy food and stuff on occasion. It's not every event, but we have the past couple we have, and I've been happy to. Like the final event of the Western Division, me and Nelson cooked.
Yep.
The final, the championship, me and Nelson cooked. It's what we do. We're okay with it.
Yep.
So that's all I can say.
It's the little things, man,
It really is. And put that trail before yourself as a director, and you will start to see dividends. And make sure it's fair, keep everything transparent, and try to give everyone an honest, fair answer to everything you do. And if you're making a ruling or doing something, let everyone know why. And then hopefully people can learn from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's because ultimately that's what you want.
Yeah, that's it. So there's your tip, directors and aspiring directors. Pay attention to your shit. Help your people out. It's about them, not you. And if you go with that, you should have success going forward.
Truth.
That's all I got.
Here we go. Buckle up.
Put that down. Put that down. Put that down.
So this week, we got a message from Joe, the bearded angler on Instagram, fellow Hookset Hoodlum alum. And Joe sounded off about, I feel like this is a continuation based on kind of the situation that I had last week, where I had a dog owner who needed to check themselves. I think a little bit is really, really kind of the best way to word it. So Joe had submitted a little FTG message for this individual, and I'm going to go ahead and play that for you. We'll talk about it on the back end.
I have an FTG. Fishing at a lake in Connecticut. There's clear beach area and even a dog area. And then there's boat ramp and clear fishing area, meaning the side of the road. So like no fishing area except for the boat ramp. There's a woman, has her dog in the water at the boat ramp, screaming at us to stop fishing before her dog gets hooked. And I said to her, ma'am, there's a beach and a dog access. And she goes, yeah, but there's people over there and I don't want the dog to get too excited. This is the best spot for her. And then refused to leave. To the point where when we casted, she threw the ball towards our lure, putting her dog in harm. So this woman's very special. Just wanted to say that. Hope you guys enjoy the story.
My God. Well, so first off,
I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking bad. The throwing the ball toward the lure, man, you're a special kind of stupid, aren't you, lady?
This is Joe met a Karen.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think we've really uttered that term on the show.
Yeah, but that's textbook
as far as
Karen.
FTG goes.
Yeah, it's the entitlement. You know what I mean? The entitlement that drives me bananas. It's I know that there's an area for my dog at this location, but I'm not going to use it. This works better for her here. Like, what happens if somebody's got to launch their boat? Like once that
Doesn't matter.
once that happens, like, what is she gonna move? No. Oh, I'm sorry, my dog's playing here. You can't launch your boat. Well, I can't just go to the beach and just drop my boat there. You know?
Yeah, according to her, you are, because she sucks. Oh, this is awful.
This is terrible. This is the worst kind of human quality right here. The entitlement.
Yeah.
Nothing pisses me off more. It's true. Nothing. When it's just, and like, could you just imagine if this poor dog had gotten a hook in its paw or something because she threw the ball over there?
Yeah.
There's a special word aside from Karen.
No, let me ask something. Joe lives in our state, right?
He does,
He's
yes.
not out of, all right. So chances are he was fishing in our state, right?
No, he was fishing in Connecticut, which I'm gonna go ahead and say that the plot just thickens.
I'm pretty sure Connecticut has laws on the book about harassing outdoorsmen.
Connecticut, really? Okay. I know Mass
so.
does. I know Mass does.
Yeah. So I wonder.
That's good to
wonder
know.
if that could have been invoked, because you can call the cops and they'll get escorted out.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Especially if he films it. Everybody's got a phone.
It's true. Harassing outdoorsmen.
So he was in a boat, right? Joe was in a boat?
No, he wasn't. He was fishing from the bank.
Oh, he was on the shore?
Yeah, he was on the bank.
Oh my God, this woman completely sucks.
Completely out of her element. Oh, here we go. Okay, Connecticut hunting, Chapter 952, Penal Code offenses. Let's see what we got here. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go. No person shall obstruct or interfere with the lawful taking of wildlife by another person at a location where the activity is taking place with intent to prevent such taking.
Sounds like that fine fucking human being just violated a Connecticut penal code.
Yep.
What a turd.
Yeah. What a friggin' turd. Sounds like she needs to be kicked right in the penal code. You know what I'm saying?
That shit hurts.
That shit, hoit. But, it's Connecticut, so I'm sure she's insured to the teeth. Whatever. My God, that's awful. Joe, I'm sorry you even had to deal with that bullshit. Like, ridiculous. Ridiculous. And I know Joe. I've fished with Joe. Joe's not the kind of guy that's gonna like snap back with something and frighten this lady away or some shit like that to be a douche. He's gonna try and dissuade the situation like a civilized human being because that's what Joe is. Joe's a goddamn gentleman, and he's gonna treat you.
I would describe
such.
Joe as yes. I would describe Joe as easygoing.
He is. Joe is about as easygoing as you can get.
Fuck.
Well, I can't believe, man, people are just the worst. Why on earth, bring your dog anywhere else? And I know it's a little bit further south than we are right now, but that water is cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That dog can only be loving that water so much. Oh, people suck,
I don't know.
dude.
I don't.
People freaking
This is a good one. This is a head scratcher, man. If you people, I know, I'm rubbing my head now. If you can hear it, there you go. Rubbing my head. If you can.
Oh
hear
yeah.
That.
Oh, it blows my mind because people are so inconsiderate, and overly entitled, There's a dog section. How many places are you going to go where you're going to fish where there is a dog section, like a VIP for canines?
Well, there's people nearby. I don't want the dog to get excited. I'd rather throw a ball at hooks.
That's where you want to fire off your swim bait rod with a nice big old friggin' lead, or your carp rig with to take out lake lice. Just we're doing a little shore casting here.
Or your fucking reach into your cooler of harvested walleye and pull out a couple of fucking
There you go.
1 ounce lead weights.
There you go.
Shit.
Throw a carcass of one of your illegally harvested walleyes. Maybe you can spend that $30,000 purse on. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna. Oh, good Lord. You know what time it is, though. It's time. I got drums.
I'm done with her. All right. So I have to talk a little bit about, first off, Bobby, while I'm pulling up Fishing Chaos because I was not ready for this. We had some technical difficulties we solved during the break, and I wasn't ready for it. Could you please do your thing and let the people know that we are in day 2 as of right now? It'll be day 4 by the time this airs.
Yes.
Of the year's final Jigs and Bigs tournament.
Well, I'll tell you guys this much. We are just in October. Like, it is barely October right now, but we're in that first week of tournament action for the last monthly Jigs and Bigs of the year. And you guys should definitely join if you haven't already. Become a part of it. All you got to do is download the Fishing Chaos app. Do a quick search for Jigs and Bigs. You'll see it there. You can go ahead and enter and throw some fish in there. Have some fun. It's multi-species, and like we've been saying for the majority of this year, with the Jigs and Bigs tournaments, your multi-species experience is less like a traditional fishing tournament or fishing derby and more like a scavenger hunt. Get out there and catch as many species as possible. In fact, I wish I would have even been thinking about it today while I was out, because I caught a variety of bass and a pickerel, and that would have been fantastic for Jigs and Bigs to help kick things off. Damn it, Bobby, you dumb bastard.
Well, I got in on it, and I should make note that my my one submission outside of the bass was a bluegill. A late season bluegill I got.
Okay.
Very happy with that.
Nice.
Yes, good stuff. So you've got the month, folks. This is it. Warm weather's still sticking around a little bit. We got 70s coming this week, at least once up here in New England.
Yeah.
Get out there. It's your fall transition. Catch some fish. Put them up for Jigs and Bigs. You might be able to win some money. You might be able to win a couple prizes. I will say this. For prizes, for Jigs and Bigs, for first to 100, first to 200, first to 300, we have 3 things. I might just randomly assign them to places.
Yep.
So of the 3 prizes, we have a power bank from Naqua.
Yep.
With a
gooseneck.
With a gooseneck light. Yep, quality. If you don't have that, that's good shit. Next up, we have a bait or a bait pack provided by Wranglin' Baits. I will talk to Derek about that because I have it written down, but I forgot it. And or I could look at where I wrote it down. And then the third is a prize by one of our favorite people, as if Derek and Heidi and Billy and Naqua weren't, but one of our favorite people who's getting in on this. I made a little pickup, Bobby.
Yes.
Again, directors doing things that are good for the tournament. I made a little pickup. Sarah Pendergast has been making rod sleeves. And they are some of the most high quality rod sleeves, especially if you own a big boat and you have a what do you call it? Not a drawer, a
rod
locker for your rods.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, this is a fantastic rod sleeve. I did pick one up for the tournament, so we'll be putting those in the first to 100, first to 200, first to 300, and then cash prizes after that for first place, second place. I don't know how many people are in it so far. I think there's 12 or 11.
Oh, that's
so
great.
We'll have up to so far, and we completely forgot to pump this up the last 2 weeks.
This is good.
So people are just hitting it. So get in on this last one if you can. Use bait, use lures. You just got to use a rod and reel. You can be in a boat, you can be on shore, you can be in a kayak. It does not matter. But you have to have a catch board, and you have to have the identifier on there, folks.
Yep.
So get on that, jump in. We'd love to see you. Now,
use walleye fillets if you need.
You shove walleye fillets in there. Well, you can shove anything
rules.
you want to fish. No, seriously, I don't care. Shove everything you want to fish. Kill them all. You know why? I don't care. Because it's a length tournament. As long as it doesn't look dead when you take the picture, I'm not going to say a word about it. We did have a little bit of confusion today. I'm not going to name drop the contestant, but this could have been avoided by some serious rule perusing. Someone did ask that they were having problems submitting a couple of fish, and I said, were they under 8 inches? And I didn't get an answer back yet, but they were. I looked at the submissions themselves; they were under 8 inches.
Yeah,
8-inch minimum for all fish except for sunfish, bluegills, red ears, pumpkin seeds. 6 inches for those. That's all I got on the Jigs and Bigs. Let's jump over to Chronic Trips. We got Chronic Trips wrapped up. So,
I got your Chronic Trips right here. We're good to go, baby.
Yes, you do. That is a big pile of glass Chronic Trips right there. I bet you it's stinky too. The Chronic Trip September tournament wrapped up. I have our places, and I have our first to 200. But our first to 100, I have to go back and look. There was some confusion on that on my part, so I have to go back and look it up. But first to 200, Nate Chagnon.
Nice job, dude.
Nice job.
Excellent job, dude.
The 100 will require research.
Yep.
No problem on that. And we'll start with third place. 3 spots paid out on this one. Third place, 12 points, Nate Chagnon.
Nice, dude.
Now, third place, second place, and first place were all separated by 1 point each. And I actually had to
close kind of fucking game.
Yes. I actually had to call up the person that ended up in second because they got bumped down from first and they were leading for quite some time because the then second place competitor called me up and said, hey, I made a mistake on my Chronic Trips. Now, again, I'm a director. If anyone calls and says they made a mistake, I try to fix it, okay? And this is well within my means of fixing. And he said, I submitted a fish in the NE5. It was a quarter inch less than what it should be. I said, no problem, and I fixed it. Then I looked at the standings after that. In the NE5, that quarter inch actually made it a tie.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
For that category, which is weird. For the NE5, usually there's a break because it's the Wild West. There's no root,
Yep.
There's all sorts of lengths in there. It's crazy. So this actually made it a tie, and I looked at the fish. Now, when I looked at my tiebreakers, because the NE5 is considered within a species, I left the time tiebreaker in there, and I said that doesn't apply because there's 5 fish. All right, how can I? What am I going to base it on? The first fish, the last fish? It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Then it went to biggest fish. So I went with the biggest fish of those 5. It was a technically biggest second fish, but that's for any other category. I went to biggest fish on that, and that put one person over, and it switched first and second place in the total points.
Holy shit.
So going into the last day of the tournament, Jerry Howes, who finished now second, was leading. Scott Rhodes, first place, 14 points, overtook him on the last day of the tournament on a clerical error he forgot to correct. God knows when he turned in that drum. Champlain, so 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, at least
third place, Nate Chagnon. Second place, Jerry Howes, Jerry Multi-House. First place, Scott Rhodes. Congratulations to everybody.
Nice job, guys.
Great job. And Chronic Trips, we'll see you again next year. And we talked, you and I and Seth are going to have a little sit down and kind of work the schedule out. It's probably not going to alternate the way it has been because there's a couple of months we want to focus in on for each tournament, shall we call it trail, online tournament trail or series. We want to focus in, like, I know we discussed, like, in particular, April should probably be a Chronic Trips month going forward because there's certain things we can do with these tournaments and give little bonuses for this, that, or the other thing. So
keeps it on brand, if you will.
Correct. So stay tuned for next year. Jump in on the Chronic Trips if you want to fish both, freshwater and saltwater. It's nationwide. We'd love to see you in there. But for now, again, Jigs and Bigs, we got all of October. It just started. Registration's open for another 2 weeks. Please jump in. We'd be happy to see you. Measure yourself against these multi-species anglers because, man, it's fun. It really is fun. And you can use worms. You can use a bobber. You can use shiners. We don't care. Use the bait, whatever bait's legal to wherever you're from.
Yeah.
Use it. Enjoy it. Have a good time. And the point is getting some fish on the board. If you're going to keep them after the picture's taken and eat them, that's your business. Please don't send me pictures of dead fish, dying fish. I don't want to see that. But get out there and fish is the bottom line. Now, to wrap the MAKB season officially, there is one more fun event at the end. I just want to go over real quickly the top 10 for the Lake Quinsigamond Championship.
Yep.
Again, we had a rough day. Nobody broke 80 inches. And about 11 inches, 10 plus inches separated first and 10th. So it was close. So 10th place, Ken Wood, 68 3/4. Chris Nardi finished 9th, 70 inches. Nelson DaCosta, 70.5. Really unusual to see Nelson's name in a top 10 at a big tournament, huh?
Yeah,
shocking.
It's amazing.
Drop shot Donnie Davis, Triple D, with 71 in 7th place.
I love it.
Josh Carvalho, 71 and 3/4, 6th place. Lee Kennan, 72 and 1/4 in 5th place. 4th place, Joe DiDeo, 72 and 3/4. Also 72 and 3/4, Chris Tai in 3rd. And then in 2nd place, my buddy Mike Morcone, 78 and 1/2. And then 1st place, Bruce Levy, 79 and 1/4. I will say this, just again, because I had to do what I had to do, and this is the way the cards fell. 3rd place and 10th place were the only 2 top 10 placements that launched from the North launch. Everything else was out of the South. So if you went North, It was rough. And I understand Chris did some traveling, so he didn't confine himself to the North. He also caught the biggest smallmouth, and I believe he had 3rd place, and he caught the biggest largemouth as well. So he caught the biggest 2 fish of the tournament and still finished 3rd.
God, that's
crazy.
awesome.
Yep. For other stuff on the tournament, the Double Down, 4 people jumped in on that. Chris Nardi won that.
Yep.
Big Bass, Chris Tai with 19.5-inch largemouth. And then the Lunker smallmouth was 18. So we got that one. Pickerel Lunker, Bruce Levy, 21 and 3/4. So I can't thank everybody enough for everything that they've done to come out to the events and had a good time with and really just fish their asses off with MAKB this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm the Western director, but I'm speaking for everybody on this one. We all had a blast. There were a ton of sellouts on the East as well, to the point where they had overflow events.
Mm-hmm.
This was 22 was, to this point, the high water mark, I think, of MAKB, and we have more in store for next year. So thanks to everybody who came out. If you didn't get a chance to come out and you're interested, you can always reach out to me through Jigs and Bigs or through MAKB on Facebook. Reach out to Ken Wood. Reach out to the other directors, John Ferreira, Nelson DaCosta, Bruce Levy, Kevin Amaral, and who we got? I'm missing one. Don Davis. There's 7 of us. So please, if you're in Massachusetts, hell, if you're in New England, I even got a call from someone who shall remain unnamed that might be fishing with us, and they're from Maine.
No shit.
Yeah, that might be. And I said, look, I know this person. You know this person. I'm not going to drop their name on air, but I said, look, dude, that's a hell of a drive. You've stayed at my house for other events. You want to crash, go ahead. I don't give a shit, but
that's awesome, man.
It's good stuff. So that's the turn. What's up?
That's impressive, dude. That what, like, the shit that something like that says about the trail.
Yeah.
That's an endorsement.
Yeah. It's awesome, man.
Son of a bitch, man.
I gotta go grab a drink of water here.
I hear you. I hear you, baby. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We have it's about that time. We're gonna talk. Well, we're gonna talk vermin.
Jigs and Bigs, bait of the week.
You know,
so I'd like to start with Nelson's beaver burgers. All right.
Okay.
So he takes the beaver and kills it and grinds it up and makes it into burgers. Or are you talking about some other vermin?
I am talking about other vermin. I'm specifically talking about rats. What was it? I want to say it was summer of 2020, and I was having a conversation with the one and only Todd Grubb, Fish and Grubs, and it was the first time he was on the show, and he and I were talking about. You know, he was talking about night fishing and, you know, big baits and being into, you know, throwing like big, you know, wake baits and stuff like this. And back then, I mean, there was all kinds of talk about one very specific large format kind of bait, and that was the Spro BBZ Rat. And it was, you know, the talk it was all over the place. People like it because, 1, it's affordable. 2, it is a topwater. So, I mean, if you're making a little bit of an investment in a bait like this, like, you know, you're not as likely to lose it. It can happen. It can happen, but you're not as likely. So after having this conversation with the one and only Todd Grubb, I had made the decision that, you know, I'm just going to bite the bullet and go for it. And I made a phone call to one Mr. Joe Brown. I know what you're thinking. Who the fuck is Joe Brown?
Exactly.
But I had him put aside a rat for me. And this was the BBZ Spro BBZ Rat, the 40 size. And I'll go over the numbers and all of that stuff. And he put this aside for me, and this was not the largest format one. This was the brown one. I was looking for something supernatural, and I figured I'd give this one a go. Well, I went up the shears with it was Berkshire Brett and Sean the Fisherman, and I had thrown this sucker around and had amazing results. I then followed it up. We had gone fishing again up the shears. We had gone fishing with Mitch Skase, and that first light of the day, I had even better results, like just bigger fish. Absolutely fantastic day with this. And since then, I have it's kind of become like the wake bait I like to throw. When I need to throw a slow, steady moving retrieve on top with something that's loud, this is what I'm looking at, and I love it. And there's lately there's been some talk that you can't find them, that they're not making them anymore. But I'm on Tackle Warehouse right now looking, and every single color and every single size is going to be available and in stock on December the 1st. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about it. What is it? Well, what it is it's a single jointed wake bait. And it's what Spro has written here. It says, tested and perfected over the last 2 years, the Spro rat wake bait is the most lifelike rat imitation to ever hit the market. Perfectly sized, the Spro rat wake bait features a single jointed rodent profile and durable square bill that offers an effortless walk the dog action and a gentle wake that humps along the surface. And boy, does it ever. Made from multiple composites, the Spro rat wake bait offers a custom wood feel and sturdy construction that stands up to most crushing topwater explosions. At the rear, the Spro rat wake bait comes equipped with a long articulated rat tail that adds to the realistic rat appearance. Armed with super sharp trebles, the Spro rat wake bait offers an easy to walk, lifelike presentation that is sure to increase your fish count and your heart rate. And it delivers, I think, on all parts. Now, the lineup goes like this. You've got the BBZ rat, the BBZ1 rat, the 25, which is a 5-inch length. Without the tail, it's 2.5 inches, and it weighs 5/16 of an ounce. The rat 30 is a 6.25 inch. It is 3.25 inches long without the tail and a 1/2 ounce weight. The 40 is what I started with. That's a 7.5 inch bait total length, 1 ounce, and it's 1 ounce and it's 4 inches long without the tail. And the BBZ Rat 50, this is the big one. This is the one that the big loud one comes in at a 2.5 ounce weight. It is 10 inches long. 5.25 inches of it, 5.25 inches without the tail. I will say this much for this bait: the tail is optional. Tail is nice; it adds a little bit of extra like tease to kind of draw some attention. But I have thrown, after getting my tail initially bitten off by some pickerel, I had thrown it without before. When a buzz bait was too fast, I would throw this. And it's been a good strategy. It's been really, really great. I love a big wake bait anyway, but something about the rat is just about the right kind of size, and you can throw it on a lot of gear. That's one nice thing about the rat. It comes in like even at its heaviest, it's 2.5 ounces. It is a heavy bait, but you get into that 40 at a 1 ounce rate, at a 1 ounce weight. Most frog rods are going to throw that with no problem. You can definitely throw that. And I would recommend, to be perfectly honest, I think the Rat 30 in that 1/2 ounce weight is a great way to get started if you're really just kind of tinkering and you're not necessarily looking to throw anything like really, really huge. I have seen, ND Yak Angler. He throws the 30 quite a bit, fishing for river smallmouth, and it gets absolutely crushed. But I love the bait. If you're interested if this is a great gateway bait, I like to tell folks, if they're toying around with the idea of getting into that large platform topwater, sort of move, this is a great way to do it. And keep in mind that it's not necessarily, it does look like a rodent, and it does have that kind of a look to it, but in the water, it's all about the noise. That's all I can tell you. It's all about the noise. It's just so loud. It gets the attention of the fish down below, and they just come up and they'll just crush it. Absolutely,
Yep. And when you had introduced those to me, now I'm going to take a step back. The wake baits I've used in the past and have had success with have been in Minnesota. For whatever reason, I haven't had a lot of wake bait success in Mass. I don't know why. The ones I was using were a Rapala model, and I just used a couple different colors that I was able to get a hold of up there. And I always had good luck with them, running them around floating weeds, or even if there was openings through the rice fields, I would run them through that. When I ended up getting a rat to try out, I got a what color? It was like what was the color? It was Tequila Sunrise. Was that the one that was very popular?
Oh, is it what you're talking about? The purple one?
Yeah, what was
Morning
the color
Dawn?
Morning Dawn.
Yeah.
I knew it had something to do with sunrise. Look at that. I got one brain cell kicking around there. It's not covered in THC completely. So I ended up getting that one, and I tried it around here, and I didn't. Again, me and wake baits for whatever reason do not jive in Massachusetts. I don't know why that is, but I did bring it to Minnesota, and I had some luck on some decent sized pike with it, which is just funny to me that, I go to another state, and that's all of a sudden my go-to top water for pike. But it's up there, and I use it for pike up there, and it works out pretty well. That knocking is insane, though, and it's
so loud.
Yep, and I want to echo you on that last one. On that last comment you made about the gear you throw with.
Yep.
50 pound braid, straight to it, no leader, and on my frog rod up there, and that's how I roll.
Yeah, it's great. What one are you throwing up there? Are you throwing the 30 or the 40?
I'm throwing the 50.
Oh, you're throwing the 50.
I don't fuck around. I use the big ones.
Nice. I have 150. And it's in that same color, that Morning Dawn. And then I have a 40 as well, the original. That's in the brown. But they actually have more colors than I realized. They've got a chrome. They've got a gray painted model they call Gray Ghost. There's one that's called Nasty Shad, which has that chartreuse tail like the Morning Dawn one has. But it's got a white belly and like a gray top with a little chartreuse line that runs across the body. They've got a black and then a white as well. So, I mean, there's options, but a lot of these I feel like it's all about that noise. I think the paint is secondary. I really do. A good, loud clacking wake bait like this, and I mean, for not being wood either, it's a composite. I think it's resin. I'm not sure. It's loud. It
really is.
Yeah. So I can't say enough about it. I love it. There's a lot of people who, they're just like, yeah, I don't know. And there's a lot of people out there that make other styles of rat baits. Like, this is gaining in popularity. But I can't stress enough how if you're interested into it, you can get into it for, I think you can get the 40 for around $20. Something like that, $20-$25, something like that. I think you'll spend a little more, like closer to 30 or 35 for the 50, but it's worth it. Try it. And again, if you're going to spend a little bit more on some baits, I recommend that, and you're a little nervous about it, like, I don't want to lose such and such, make that investment on topwater baits. Just keep them the fuck out of trees.
You don't want it to become, what would you call it, tree candy?
Shore candy, exactly. Yeah,
you do not want it to become shore candy.
A 2.5 ounce lure hanging from a tree that somebody's climbing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So definitely give those a try if you're getting into the wake bait scene. And look, it says rat. It looks like a rat. Bass hit anything that moves.
Yep. They're savages.
Go for it.
Yeah. Give it a go.
A try.
Can't recommend it enough. I think we don't have anything else for this segment. We're cooking with gas.
We're trucking, but we're not cheating. We are not stuffing weights into this podcast.
Can I interest you in a walleye fillet?
Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah. I mean, those are fucking great.
Bring it. Taco form. Guys, we're going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to be getting nerdy with it. I don't know necessarily what we're going to talk about in this next segment, but I promise you this. It's going to be fucking exciting. We'll see you guys in about a minute or two. Don't go too far. Jigs and Bigs is your favorite fishing podcast, right? Why not show the world how much you love the show while directly supporting us? We have men's and ladies' shirts, hoodies, and a variety of hats. We even have a waterproof outdoor Bluetooth speaker so you can listen to your favorite podcast while out on the water if you like. Check out jigsandbigs.com/shop to visit the store and gear yourself up. If you really can't get enough of this show, consider becoming a jighead and joining our Patreon. It's a subscription that gives you exclusive access to recording sessions that allow you to engage with with us as we record the show. We also have some exclusive content there just for our jig heads and even have some special promo codes. Space is limited, so join now at jigsandbigs.com. Finally, if you're local to our area in Western Massachusetts, consider checking out the Western Mass Fishing Report, posted weekly at northeastwildwoman.com. We have amazing contributors providing great content and info for local conditions and what's been going on and working recently. Jigs and Bigs, so much more than just two lightly roasted hippies trapped in the 90s arguing on the internet about fishing. Oh yeah, everybody. We made it through another week. Man, it was an interesting week, to say the least. We ate like kings. I managed to catch some fish. Sean caught some fish. Not the right ones, but he did catch some fish. It was interesting, and fall is here. You know, I mean, as much as I've been denying it, it's official. It's here. It's October. It's time to go ahead and get your ladle holes in. You know, drink your German beers, put on a spooky mask, and suck down some pumpkin spice something. This morning I woke up and my kids had cracked open a bag of pumpkin spice Kit Kats. I don't hate them. I don't hate them. I really don't. I don't know. I'm such a fat piece of shit.
Well, while we're on the subject of Halloween, are you a candy corn guy?
It's funny, man. I don't mind candy corn. Like, I don't go out of my way for it. I know there are, it's split. You have some people who absolutely love it, and then some who are just like, this is garbage. But what do you think?
Well, I think we're in the same boat. Back in the day, I would do, down a handful of them, but I wouldn't sit there and just eat an entire bag. There's a point. You know what I mean?
You're not going to go and like seek them out, you know?
Correct.
Candy corn hole, whatever. Whatever you're into.
Well, we didn't plan this part, so there you go.
No, not at all.
Where we decided to go down the candy corn path. I wanted to talk a little nerd stuff, and I'd asked you in the break if you'd ever read it was originally we went through this once, but it was originally a 4-issue limited series in 1986.
Yep.
And then it got collected in a trade paperback, which everyone, for some reason, refers to as a graphic novel. But the story I'm talking about is at the time a future story for Batman called Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, which is written by Frank Miller and drawn by Frank Miller. Yeah, and you said you'd never read that, but I said when I made mention of a good portion of Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, which I've never seen in its entirety. I can't do it. I can't do DC movies. They're awful.
Yeah.
Was based off that work of art by Frank Miller. And it's considered one of the two best collected, stories. That with Watchmen, also in 1986 by, God, who's the writer of Watchmen? It's late at night and I'm burnt out.
I know.
It's Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, which is also a seminal storytelling. So 1986 really had two of the best stories in comics ever written. But I have the collected edition, and I brought it in with me to the throne one day and started getting into it. And it's that book that I read once a year, once every 2 years, and say, what a phenomenal story being told from both a storytelling and the visual aspect. And it's just, it never gets old. And it is a timepiece because there's a lot of 1986 stuff going on in there with Ronald Reagan and the Soviets and weird stuff. But when I read it this time, something kind of hit me with current events. And, you and I don't get political, and I'm not going to say anything political on this, but I realized the parallels of the fear of nuclear war that are going on right now with, everything that's going on in and around Ukraine right now. And it was just kind of hit me. So for those of you who have read that, if you have the book nearby and you want to give it another read, keep that in mind and go through it again and be like, wow, this is eerily similar, and history does repeat itself. It kind of hit me that way today. I don't know why.
Oh, so, you're 100% right, though. History totally repeats itself. And perspective comes into play a lot, too. Like, when in 1986, you and I were like 9 years old. Like, you know, those
Yeah.
books and the current events would have just gone completely over our heads. But now when you've got, you know, that hindsight behind you, and they say hindsight is 2020, you look behind you and you're able to draw parallels to all kinds of stuff. That's pretty slick, man. I feel like I had never read that, but it sounds so familiar.
I'll let you borrow it.
I want to say it came across and like had gotten my attention at one point or another. Like maybe I spotted it at like, you know, the local comic shop or something like that, or even a poster of the artwork or something like that kind of got my attention. But
yeah, there's one of the cover for the first issue, and they use for almost every collected edition since then is a very iconic drawing of just a silhouette of Batman with a lightning bolt behind him and a black knight. That's it. And actually, it's been parodied so many times. Even our boy Kevin Smith parodied it with a Jay and Silent Bob, I believe, movie poster. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, I believe, has a silhouette of Jay and Silent Bob with a lightning bolt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of nerd shit, in other nerd news this week, have you seen the video with Ryan Reynolds about Deadpool 3?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to see some Deadpool Wolverine stuff going on, which I think a lot of people have been waiting for.
Yeah.
You know?
And it helps that they're buddies and are probably going to enjoy the process.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have a lot to look forward to. But, yeah, if you're a comic reader out there, a graphic novel reader, if you want to use that term, check out The Dark Knight Returns if you haven't. It is really the pinnacle of comic writing. And enjoy it. And, Bobby, I'll let you borrow my copy, and you can tell me what you think.
I'll give it a peruse.
Yes, sir. That's all I have for nerd stuff.
No, I like that. That's good. I like it. You know, it's good. We had an episode last week that was well over 3 hours. I feel like this is a refreshing one. Getting into October, things are just kind of taking off. Guys, we've got a lot of good stuff coming up in the future. We have, well, first off, we've got interviews coming up with Adam Blemecki. We've got other listeners that are coming up. I have an outing that I'm in the process of planning that involves truck camping and carp fishing. We also have an outing later this month with our jig head winner from our contest, Scott, that we had announced last week, and we're very much looking forward to that. That's coming up later this month. What else, man? We have so much good stuff happening, guys, and you want to be here for all of it. That is 100% for sure. It is fall, y'all. It is time to get out there. They're moving. Track them down. See if you can get on a good bite and catch some fish. Fall fishing can be super exciting. Bundle up, throw a hoodie on, you'll be fine. It's going to be great. Get out there and catch some freaking fish, damn it. Bobby, think
one last thing I do want to mention. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Oh, it's all right.
But you said dress warmly. We were barely at 120, the rule of 120 the other day.
Yeah.
We were over, but we were barely at. So check your water temp, add it up to your air temp, and make sure that you're safely prepared so that if, God forbid, you go in the water.
Yep.
You're not, we're not going to be reading about you as another safety accident that could have been prevented.
And it is October now, and if you're on any type of watercraft in Massachusetts, wear your goddamn PFD.
By law, baby.
Yep, just do it. Just do it. You'll be smarter for it. With all that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We will see you in 7 days with more Jigs and Bigs goodness. Thanks so much for coming on out and being a part of this show. As always, if you could, give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Rate us over there on Spotify. And we will see you guys in 7 days. Like we always say.
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.
busting.
And where is the Batman?
Hi, Bruce Wayne. I tried to avoid all this, but I can't.
I just gotta know, are we gonna try to love each other?
Stop the press. Who is that?
Vicky Vale.
She is great, isn't she?
Ooh yeah, I wanna bust that body. Ooh yeah, I wanna bust that body.
I'd like to.
Ooh yeah,
But he's out there right now.
I wanna bust that body. Ooh yeah.
Well, Miss Vale. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it. I've gotta go to work.
Hey, Ducky, let me stick the 7-inch in the computer.